Welcome to the fiery depths of hell. Fulfill your darkest fantasies. Taste the flesh. The pleasures of the flesh.
Hi guys, Flattmeister here. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen this game called Agony. It's a first-person horror game in which your soul has descended to hell, and you're trying to find the Red Goddess, who is some kind of... she's like the devil of this particular realm of hell, or this depiction of hell in the game Agony. I remember seeing some trailers for it. I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. You know, that you have to use stealth mechanics, and there's you use a torch to light the way, but also that attracts enemies. So you have to obviously use that as distractions as well. So pretty much like Alien Isolation, but in hell. And it really was in a really great way as well. Really gross and gory, and it really gave the sense that you were in this hellish nightmare. You were in the deepest pit. You're in the sort of one of the worst circles of hell. Which reminds me, I need to come back to Dante's Inferno. I need to come back to playing that. That is an awesome game. Really cool depiction of hell. Now I'm an atheist. I don't believe. I don't have a faith. I don't believe in a god, or I don't believe in hell. But there's something about the realm of hell that obviously, like from in history, where in ancient civilizations, that they saw volcanoes, or they saw the tectonic plates, or the Earth's crust would break apart during earthquakes and stuff, and they'd see the lava, this red fiery liquid bubbling up from the ground, and you could see how obviously these legends and myths and stories have gone throughout different faiths and beliefs, and has created all of these different tales. And it's really appealing, like the concept of hell, in where your soul will burn for eternity. Don't know, the game has come out. I think I saw PewDiePie has been doing a Let's Play of it, and I also saw an article on One Angry Gamer in which it showed... I can't unfortunately show it on my video, but you have to check it out on One Angry Gamer. I will link the article in the description, but basically there's a video with all of the deleted... There's like deleted scenes, there's... and sort of cut content that, because the developers, they couldn't put in a post uncensored patch, otherwise they would get sued by, I think it was Peggy, the Peggy system. They would sue the developers, Madmind Studios. And basically, yeah, you should check out the video. It's got full penetration in view. It's funny, it says raping a succubus. Like, it didn't really come across as raping. Like, the Red Goddess goes, oh yes, indulge yourself. Take anyone you want. And there's this one succubus demon. She's fully naked, and she's sort of playfully toying like that, and your character, who presumably has inserted their soul... oh, that's poor wording there. Basically put their soul into one of sort of the bigger demons, because I think that's one of the gameplay mechanics. You can possess other bigger demons, so you work your way up and through. And basically it shows full penetration with like this big weird tentacle starts lapping at the woman's body, and then inserts, and there's quite a few other, from the first person perspective, sex scenes. I think there was like butt physics, like when the Red Goddess was walking, you'd see like a noticeable like jiggle in the butt cheeks, which I don't know why they cut that. There was another one, killing dead fetuses. like the souls of babies. And really, the babies looked. They had they were a small body like a baby, but the faces looked like old men. So I wouldn't really call them dead fetuses. But yeah, that gameplay showed you that you could kill these babies. You like pick them up and you'd bite them in the neck, or you would just kind of pull their head and break their neck. Quite gross stuff. But obviously, all this stuff is really giving you this. It's a really mature way. It's really a mature game, and it's really showing. It's living up to its name, Agony. There was a load of other. There was another one. There was like mutilation of a fetus. Like this demon basically gives birth. She pulls it out of her in full view, like first person view. Pulls it out of her vagina, and she beforehand she stabs. She stabs herself, just in the gut, which is quite nasty, and then pulls the demon baby out. So quite a lot of there was quite a lot of other gross stuff. Like there was some gore, like shoving your fist down a demon's throat. And nothing that you wouldn't expect to see in, say, like Doom. In the Doom, the recent Doom game with the glory kills. There's a lot of it's all different tonally as well. But yeah, the game has been sort of mixed reviews. Like some people saying repetitive gameplay, story is a bit voice work, which I'll admit from the stuff I've heard. Yeah. So anyway, getting to the point. Patrick Klepek over on Waypoint, and this is a review for the game, right? It says, boom, review. Agony, a game about dehumanizing women, isn't just bad, it's toxic. I thought this was supposed to be a review of the game. Tell us about the gameplay, Patrick Klepek. Anyway, they're really like, what's the word? So anyway, Patrick Klepek has been like really, it's like really reducing the game. He's been really, I'm trying to find the word that I'm looking for. But basically, right, here we go. He goes, a mixture of what you might find in a horny teenager's sketchbook crossed with an angry YouTuber screaming about how feminists have come to destroy their video games. Again, Patrick Klepek. I thought this was supposed to be a review of the game. Oh, and then he puts content warning, descriptions and depictions of extreme violence and sexual assault. Yeah, well, I didn't give that warning on this video, so fuck you. He's saying it's useful. He's argued in the past it's useful to play bad games so you can appreciate the well-made ones. I can kind of agree with that, but not here. It's one thing for a game to be poorly designed. Agony is another one to come away from the experience with a sense of disgust. Well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to be, disgusted by this hellscape. Wondering what the people behind the game were thinking. Yeah, they were trying to make you... They were trying to give you a sense of disgust. Hence the name, Agony. It's not just that Agony is an awful, frustrating way to spend a few hours, but how the game over and over reminds you it has an axe to grind with 50% of the population. Again, going about with the gender stuff again. Patrick, I thought this was supposed to be a review of the game. It's impossible to go more than a few minutes without Agony reminding you what it thinks about women. Men are tortured and strung up in agony, but it's the women who are strut around the world without clothes. Seems you've got some personal problems there about female sexuality, Patrick. Whose screams of pull it out become environmental texture, and who the game constantly, specifically goes out of its way to violently degrade. Well, we don't know like what's the historical setting. Like, is this like present? Like, well, obviously by the way the characters talk, it's not present day and people, this character's gone to hell. It seems like this is sort of medieval, back in history. Like, again, when people did treat women like second-class citizens. So perhaps, yes, some of these characters do have a poor opinions of women, or or so again, it doesn't make the game developers sexist or misogynistic, Patrick. Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick. So he goes, Agony, a game whose pitch is walking through a totally fucked up version of hell, describes itself as a first-person survival horror game. Screenshots are seductive, the actual in-game visuals less so, but it's not hard to see how the game managed to rocket past its jokey $66,666 fundraising target on Kickstarter, eventually nabbing $182,500. Hell isn't a new setting for games. I mean, well, yeah, see like Shadow of the Damned, Doom, Bayonetta, God of War, Dante's Inferno. But I actually like that Agony has sort of moved away from that fiery depiction of hell. This is like I said, that like, this is some kind of new, either just a new interpretation of hell, or there's like a different realm of hell, or sort of different circle of hell. This is all grotesque flesh and gore and viscera. The whole world is just made of this. I think of like Event Horizon. Do you remember like how the ship, the Event Horizon in that movie, is just covered in viscera and gore from all of the crewmates from that ship? It's a fucking awesome movie, that. He's saying apparently it was woefully underexplored, the prominence of hell. Hell is such a conceptually fascinating idea. Yes, it is. You can explore so many twisted ideas, especially within art as well, and within games, movies, TV shows, comic books, graphic novels, and other literature. You can explore so many twisted themes with the concept of hell, especially when you go beyond the pools of blood and start to try imagining the logistics and politics of such a place. Yeah, there is no politics of hell. It's quite egalitarian, actually. Regardless of your gender, hell is going to completely wreck your soul. There are not the it's more interested. Agony is more interested in coming across as badass, without acknowledging how it's accomplishing that, or what kind of toxic ideology it's spreading by indulging in the worst kinds of faux edgy art. Well, that's just your opinion. It's not trying to be faux edgy. And what does he mean by toxic? Again, has some of these game developers expressed viewpoints that you don't believe in, Patrick? Seems like it. Again, he's trying to say that also that the game developers are going to brainwash or program gamers, that this game will program gamers to be sexist and misogynist towards women. Oh, fuck off, Patrick. Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review. This sentence here is so... Oh, my God. Oh, the derangement syndrome is just... Right, here we go. I'm gonna read it right. Agony is the kind of game conservative culture warriors will defend, not because it's good, but because it offends people. Well, if anyone gets offended, like, surely that's... Like, if a game has offended you or invoked any kind of emotion in you, it's kind of succeeded in its message, or the art form has succeeded in invoking an emotion in you. So anyway, no, I'm not conservative. What have you? Well, I'm a fucking liberal person, and I'm a culture. I will defend this game because it deserves to exist. But people like you, Patrick, want to have this game pulled from Steam. You want it banned. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe it dares to do this kind of stuff in a game. So anyway, let's get through this sentence, right? It's the kind of game conservative culture warriors will defend, not because it's good, but because it offends people. If someone's upset over the way it depicts women, who cares if it's no fun to play? In today's Trump-fueled victimhood culture, that's basically a win. Oh my God. The Trump derangement syndrome. Like, how can you fit Trump in a fucking review about a game about hell? What the fuck? I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick. You are a fucking joke.
Review!
Journalist. Game.
Review!
Game.
Review!
It's such a bad fucking Ooh, you sound so badass with your swearing in your article. It's such a bad fucking video game too. You spend 95% of Agony waiting for poorly designed AI enemies to walk past you so you can sprint to the next area. It's not scary, it's not fun, it's not interesting. Well, apparently there's a mechanic to hold your breath. But Patrick apparently says the AI has no idea what it's doing most of the time, so you're just better off holding the run button. Oh, well, at least he tells you a little bit about the gameplay there. The gameplay mechanics in this review. Yeah, like I said, the game, mixed reviews, and there is some repetition in the gameplay, but what the fuck? Right, there's a review summary, right? Sort of midway through this review. It's like, oh, if you can't be asked to read it. He goes, review summary. An ugly power fantasy where hell and demons, I don't know why he's putting them in quotations, and demons mask its ideological truth, domination of women. Again, I keep saying this, and if the shoe fits, right, say it again, right? Just because a game developer is exploring a theme doesn't mean they endorse that theme. What does it mean by mask its ideological truth, domination of women? Perhaps that's the concept of the game. There's the domination. It's the domination of the soul, domination of anyone. There's plenty of male characters, NPCs, that get completely ripped apart. They get torn up. They get mutilated. It's not just the wamen's. Number of vagina apples you collect. Too many. Again, this version of hell, it's all about the flesh, about temptation, the sin of temptation of the flesh, and of course there's going to be this sort of certain amount of sexuality and lust. And so yeah, there's these trees where you have to collect I think you collect a fruit to upgrade something, and basically it looks like an apple or a apricot, but it's got it looks like a vagina lips on the side of one of these apples. And again, that's to evoke some imagery and symbolism in the game. It's all symbolism. But you, Patrick, in your summary of saying, basically accusing the game developers of, oh, they're sexist and misogynist because they're trying to program and brainwash gamers into dominating women and basically be rapists, programming them to be rapists. Oh my god, right? Yeah, here we go. This sums up the game journalist in his review, right? Because he's so frustrated to actually play the game himself and give himself a... He goes, annoyed but wanting to see the whole game through. Yeah, because you got to complete a game because you're a game journalist. And if you're going to do a review, you got to complete the entire fucking game. He goes, want to see the game through. I eventually resorted to putting a YouTube walkthrough of the game on another monitor to ensure I wouldn't get stuck again. Yeah, that's it, game journalists. I'm sort of rely on the help of other people. It's hard work. And that's why it makes me wonder whether he did actually play it all the way through, or did he just basically watch a Let's Play walkthrough? He went, oh, well, I've played sort of the first 20 minutes of the game. I know the basic gist of the game controls. And then just watch the walkthrough and pretend that he's played the entire game. If nothing else, Agony has its visuals, atmosphere and shock value. It's what sold the game. And that's exactly what... and remains the core strength. That's exactly what people will buy, like, for this atmosphere, this visual, atmospheric game. There are times when you cannot help but stop, look around, and admire the repulsive beauty. And exactly, that's what the game developers wanted to do. There is an art in disgust. It's sort of playing on the fears of the human body, as Patrick says here. But it becomes the real problem when you look past the goo seeping out the walls and begin piecing together the story of this version of hell tells. Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick.
Review!
Slut, whore, I can nearly feel her red cunt. These are just a handful of gender-targeted comments found in everything from characters to diary entries. It's the game doing world building. Your character doesn't speak in Agony outside of grunting as they die for the 57th time. The story Agony tries to tell is muddling and confusing, but in short, you're a bad person who did bad things on Earth, and when you died, arrived in Hell. But you quickly learn there might be a way out if one of Hell's leaders, the Red Goddess, grants passage. And apparently, like, the Red Goddess is like a sort of succubus demon. They're demons known for seducing men. And again, like, Patrick, really insecure with female sexuality, it seems. She goes, she lords around the place naked. I mean, the Red Goddess should be allowed to do as she pleases, so strut in your birthday suit all you want. But Agony wields its imagery with the subtlety of a brick. Yeah, Hell isn't subtle, mate. Hell is in your face, and it doesn't care about your feelings. It wants to upset you because Hell is Hell. It's a mixture of what you might find in this sort of this repeating that same sentence of the subheading, what you'd expect to see in a horny teenager's sketchbook, crossed with an angry YouTuber screaming about how feminists have come to destroy their games. Where in the fuck did you get that from, Patrick? That's so fucking stupid. Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick.
Review!
The game isn't subtle, as evidenced by this vagina apple that provides skill points. And there's a gif here, like I said, like it's imagery. I mean, do you remember Prey? Like the original Prey, sort of 2006-2007 game, and there was like vagina doors in which and butthole doors, that anal sphincter doors that go, and the vagina doors, like these aliens would sort of go burst out, and then that was where they'd spawn, and it was quite weird looking at this weird sort of warty, pale pink and green looking vagina. It was quite, and H.R. Geiger's artwork has. His sort of sexual aesthetic has really influenced a load of other media. You'll find lots of lesbian sex, moaning women, bare breasts and vagina imagery in Agony's afterlife. But despite Hell's vast resources for constructing pits of lava and caves of pain, there are a precious few dicks. We'll go suck on one, Patrick. Each time I found a man, human, demon, in between, I would look to see if the game was applying the same aggressive exploitation to their sexual parts, and it was never the case. You can find a dick, but it's just that, a penis, part of the naked body. Some demons even get a loincloth to cover up their presumably enormous dicks, which only underscores the asymmetric gender dynamics at play. It's intentional. Again, seems like you got a bit of some self-esteem issues with regards to your sexuality. Agony. It's not enough to watch someone bash a bunch of bleeding and screaming fetuses over and over. You need to find them strung up by their umbilical cords too. Apparently, like, they fall down and go bong.
I'm just a prom night dumpster baby. I got no mom or dad. Prom night dumpster baby. Prom night dumpster baby.
Review!
Kind of reminds me of that. This is the stuff they managed to ship with the game. Even if you try to grant the developers the benefit of the doubt, gee, maybe they didn't realise how aggressive this stuff was coming across. The cut content only underscores a specific message. Ahead of release, like I said, there was the unrated patch which they can't release. It should have gotten an adult only rating. I don't know if it's still. Console versions were censored apparently, but to restore the original vision, the PC version would get an unrated patch. Unrated patches are nothing new. Visual novels with explicit sex scenes often resort to this in order to release their game on platforms like Steam, and then there's a link, Valve has since clamped down on this, which is presumably to another one of their shitty articles. Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick.
Review!
Developers apparently declined to comment to Waypoint or Patrick, citing legal agreements, but released a video with the content that did make it into the game. It says, sorry, this video does not exist. Well, basically, there was two copies of the video on that One Angry Gamer article. One of them, I think, is from like Vimeo, but basically, yeah, you click on that and that video is there. It goes, the next cut content is called the Raping of the Succubus, and again, I said at the start of the video, I don't think it was rape. in which what happens is exactly as described, with one of the game's demons held down and sexually assaulted by the player. Like, you don't, like, you're not in control of doing it. But basically, the character picks the female up and then pulls her legs apart, and it is quite graphic. The game's camera later pans down as if emulating a Pornhub video for an intimate view. Agony wasn't crafted as a power fantasy, in which the notion of hell and demons are sheer window dressing, a way to mask what the game is really about: forced domination and submission of women. Seriously, this article is just fucking... Oh, here we go. Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick.
Review!
Though it's not customary to do so, as art should speak for itself, yes it should. I did contact the game's devs, wondering if they'd respond to some of my observations about the game, and they would tell you to fuck off, because they don't give a shit about you. Agony's publicist told me my inquiry was passed on, but I've yet to hear back. Yeah, don't get your hopes up, Patrick, because... Oh, here we go, right? Again, I thought this was supposed to be a review, Patrick. It's worth asking whether Agony falls under the same category as Hatred, which is that top-down, twin-stick, black and white shooter where you kill civilians and stuff. The 2015, that glamorized mass shootings. What about GTA 5, Patrick? By writing about it, aren't you just giving it the craved attention? Hatred was the heir apparent to Postal. A game whose trolly nature now seemed like an antiquated version of today's trolling the libs. But whereas Hatred wore its subversive nature on its sleeve, revelling in every new headline or comment calling for its banning, Agony is more insidious. It presents as one thing but exists as another. Agony masquerades as a hardcore trip to hell for real gamers. The game's Steam page makes no mention of almost anything I've mentioned here. Instead, it focuses on the game's story of a tormented soul within the depths of hell, without any memories about your past. Because exactly, that's what matters about the game, and that's what gamers want to know about, and that's what the game developers want you to know about their game, is the story, the purpose of playing the game, not women's. Oh, also, yeah, because this is a review, he's mentioning a few more of the gameplay mechanics. How you'll be able to use a special ability to possess demons, the kinds of hostile environments players will have to survive in, and the game's inclusion of both a story mode and an open challenge system that randomly generates levels complete with high scores. That's kind of cool, doing sort of a randomly generated thing. Perhaps the scariest interpretation is the developers don't think any of this is a problem, and neither do I. I don't think this is a problem. You're making it a problem, Patrick. Right, okay, this next, like I said, I don't think he completed the game. I think when he said earlier, I watched a walkthrough guide on the other monitor. After 30 minutes of playing Agony, I'd had enough. But you got to remember, you're a journalist. You're getting paid to write reviews and articles, right? So you got to complete the game to completion, Patrick. The only reason I clocked more than 5 hours was to reject any notion I hadn't given the game its due. Exactly, yes. You haven't given the game its due. I gave Agony the full benefit of the doubt, more than it deserved. It's easy to see how a disingenuous person might argue, hey, stop looking for politics and everything. Or no, that's not being disingenuous. Me saying, this is supposed to be a review, right? How is it disingenuous to say, stop talking about political shit when you're supposed to be a review telling us about the game? How does it play? What's it like? Tell me about the story. Tell me about the art style. Tell me about the technical aspects, you know, like the realistic lighting physics, realistic fire physics, you know, game engine, I think is what I meant. I sort of slipped up there. Instead, you've literally, the entirety of this article has been about my women's my sexual violence, or my sexuality and sexual content. But Agony is stuffed with political messages. It has a lot to say about women, sexual violence, the power dynamics of sex between genders, and how society often views gay sex through the lens of straight men. Again, this is just hell. It's people of men and women and demons indulging in the sin of the flesh. Rather than, again, because it's a game developer that hasn't inserted a load of SJW identity politics and propaganda in the game, you then label this game as ideology, right? Rather than coding its ideology in metaphor or subtext, it's danced right in front of you. Agony knows exactly what it's saying. Fortunately, you don't have to listen. Fuck off, Patrick Klepek. That was the end of the review. That's supposed to be a review. And of course, Reset Era caught a whiff of this article as well, and the game. And there's people going, "Oh my god, I can't believe this game exists. Oh, what kind of sick asshole do you have to be to play this game? Yup, game about edgy things for edgy's sake. Edgy's sake, the drink of choice with the edgelord, cause my edginess." Hell is supposed to be gross, and it is supposed to be disgusting. Anyway, yeah, that's that. So I want to hear what you think of this. Tell me what you think about sort of the points I bring up, and tell me what you think of this god-awful review of this game. But also, if you have played Agony, tell me about what you think of it. So yeah, I've been Flattmeister. I'll catch you in the next episode. So yeah, I've been Flattmeister. I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.
We are all animals, my lady.